Hey everyone, so video 2 we're going to start on the eyes. Normally I would use a brown eyebrow eyeliner, whatever, just a nice soft pencil, usually in brown, just because brown's a lot easier to sort of hide if you make a mistake. Black is a little bit more unforgiving. Black is all I can find at the moment. I have no idea where my brown pencil has gone at all. Serves me right for not looking through my makeup bag before starting a video. So we're going to go in with a black pencil, and this is just a cheap one from the Colour Institute, apparently. I think I got this in like a Christmas hampery type thing, and it literally had eyeliners, lip liners, lipsticks, nail varnishes. It had all sorts of weird and wonderful bits in. So yeah, it's nothing fancy. You can use whatever you've got at all. Like I say, brown tends to be a little bit easier. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in just below the brow, so you'll be able to see on yourself a lot easier than this probably. And I'm just going to take a line from just here, in line with my brow, and I'm going to bring it up following the arch of my eyebrow, and then I'm going to bring it back round and along the top of the eyelid to create an artificial crease higher than my actual crease. My actual crease is obviously here, so I'm pretty much following that crease, but I'm just doing it higher up and looping it back down. So the same as you would do if you were doing a cut crease look, and you would obviously shade in the outer third of the eyelid. That's kind of the shape you're looking for. So I'm just going to go in and do that. Just nice and gentle strokes. The paler you do it, if there is a mistake. Oh, you got a nice shot straight up my nose there. Helps if I'm a little bit lower for you guys. So you'll find when you do this, if you do this, that you learn where the line sits best on you guys. So I have quite wrinkly eyelids. So can you see you've got sort of the C shape, so it's coming from in line with the eyebrow, up, down and round and onto the eyelid, and I've brought it in just that outer third, maybe a little bit less than a third actually. And these are only guidelines, so you're going to be going over these, so they don't have to be perfect. It's just so you've got a guide to follow. And where we've obviously put the foundation, or I've put the foundation onto my face before and onto my eyelids as my base, the end of your pencil may get clogged with a little bit of powder and stuff, so just make sure that you're keeping that nice and clean so that you can still get the nice clean lines. So I'm just going to go and do a symmetrical, or as much as I can, a symmetrical line on the other side. Again, just starting in line with the eyebrow, up to the bottom of the brow, going round and bring it back in. Okay, it's not exact, but I'm trying to be quick and I'm making it worse. Like I say, they don't have to be perfect because you're going to be going back over them in a bit. Just so you've got a rough guide to work off of. This one needs to come down a bit. And then the next thing you want to do is draw in where your new eyebrow is going to go. So I generally do mine literally just above. So starting here, I like to bring them up and then down. So they're not really pointy, but they do have a point to them, sort of in line with the bend on your face, if that makes sense. So if you feel along where it feels like it would drop off. So starting in line with my natural brow, going gently up, following pretty much the hairline that's there as well, and then once I get to this sort of point, so almost in line with that curvature that's going out, bring it back down the other side, so, and stopping just where my natural brow kind of stops. So you don't want them going halfway around your face. Maybe you do. I personally don't, so that's where I'm going to draw mine. So then the tricky bit obviously again is lining it up on the other side. This is really, really dark. I'm not used to it being this dark. So I've pretty much gone over the top of my wax that I've got there, followed the line of it. It's almost symmetrical if you'll be filling this space in as well, so don't be too worried about it. If it's that bad, you can always, what I call Tipex, get a little bit of your W3, or 3W should I say, TV paint stick on a little bobby pin and just touch over the top of it. Doesn't necessarily have to do that, but that can help correct things if you make mistakes. So next I'm going to go in with a black liquid liner. Can be any liquid liner. This one I particularly like. It's the Precision Liner by Bourjois Paris. It's a really nice deep black. You get loads in a tub. They're generally not too expensive, and the brush on the end of it is nice and flexible. A lot of the liquid liners that I've tried in the past have been quite hard, almost like a felt tip. So the tip's very, very hard. It doesn't move with you. So this one is more of a brush, and scrape some. You get an awful lot when you pull it first out. You don't want that much product on the end of it. So you can see it's a nice thin. Are you going to focus on that? No, kind of. You get the point. I've got no elbow room on this table. So you're going to go in to start with on that bottom line and go over the line that you've put there before. Do be careful with this, because if, like me, you have sort of quite a fold to the eye, as you open your eye, you've drawn on this line here, you open your eye and then it sticks extra bits places you don't necessarily want them. So try really, really hard to keep your eye shut once you've done this. So I'm just going in. I've wiped off some of the product so it's not particularly heavily lined, and I've already made a mistake. Well done me. And the reason I like this as well is you get a nice crisp line to it when you don't make mistakes. But it's not the end of the world, I can correct that. Or I can thicken the line as well, which will help hide the mistake a little bit. But obviously if you make a mistake on one side, you've then got to copy the mistake on the other side so that it looks even. So again, loading up my brush, and I've smudged it already, and I'm just going to take this one straight across the top of my lid, doing my upper lid lash line. Try and tuck it as close to the lash line as you can, and it can feel quite cold, but try really hard not to blink, because if you blink when the brush is there, you'll end up with more mistakes that you've then got to fix again. So going all the way down right to the tear duct, and then bring it back up and across. You want it to taper towards the inner eye and then get thicker as it's coming out. Wow, how orange is this lighting? That said, my foundation is quite orange. So just joining up these two lines, and then thickening the join. And then that blob out there doesn't matter too much, because what I'm going to do next is wing it out. So sticking the corner of the brush without too much product on, just into the corner of the eye, without actually getting it on your eye, and just pull it out like that, and then let the brush kind of just take it all the way up like that, so it's like a long eyelash on the end. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in this space all the way up with black. You can either do it with your liquid liner, or you can use things like black snazaroo. I know other people that do it with black eyeshadows and things like that. I like the intensity and the sharpness that you get with this, so I'm going to go ahead and do mine with this. So I like to just bring this line across. Again, doesn't matter too much on the top if you're not particularly neat, because you will be hiding that line with whichever colour you're choosing to put on. So again, just filling that in. You will find as this dries, you'll spot where you've missed, and you can always go back over it later on. Just going to even up that line. These videos are going to end up really long. Really sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus on the one eye for now, and I'll do the other eye off camera for you guys, so that I then even myself up. So with that on, obviously trying to keep your eye as open as you can to stop it smudging too much. If I sit with my head back a little bit, I should be fine. I'm going to go in next with white snazaroo. Is that shot? Yep. Just in a white. And I'm going to take, what brush am I going to take? I'm going to take that one, which is just a little angled brush. Doesn't matter which, mate. You don't necessarily have to use an angled brush. I know people that do it with lip brushes and things like that. Take a little bit of water in whichever container. I personally use a little egg cup. Just make the end of your brush damp, and then give it a little swirl in the paint. You guys know how to paint. But just get a nice amount on the brush. If it's too dry, obviously dip it back in. The danger with this is to put too much on. If you put too much on, it's going to crack when it dries, or through the night when you've got it on. So just be really careful that you're not putting too much on. You just want almost like a highlight. So, and it will also obviously help block out any darkness you've got left on your brows. So going in underneath your new eyebrow that you've drawn on, and this is why it didn't make too much if you did a mistake underneath, because obviously the white's going to cover it. So, but it does obviously show up if you've missed any eyebrows. I personally like to do this line here quite straight, but obviously you don't have to. And everyone's different. Everyone has different likes, dislikes, things like that. So you'll find what you prefer. So go with what works for you guys. Just be aware that if you are stroking into the black, if it's still wet, or even if it's not, because you've got the wetness of the brush, you can end up with grey streaks in it if you're not paying attention. So just be very careful and pull that down. And remember to rinse your brush between applications, because also you will be taking off foundation. And you can end up with orange snazaroo as opposed to white snazaroo. So just make sure you're doing a little clean in between. then get some more white, and then obviously this will also help catch some stray hairs, so if you've got a few that you didn't get earlier that you're not too fussed about, this can be really, really handy. I've got quite a few just here, but like I say, I'm not wearing this out, so it's not the end of the world. I'm going to try and butt it up against the white as close as I can get it, and just finishing it off so I'm bringing it to a point, so all the way around. And then you need to leave that to dry. So while that dries, I'm going to do the other eye off camera for you guys, and this video is already long enough, so I'm going to leave it there for now, and click the next video to see the colour part. Thanks very much, see you in the next video.